You know the expression, damned if you do, damned if you don't? That's my story in a nutshell. I was an aide working directly under G. Gordon Liddy at Nixon's re-election campaign headquarters. Liddy was an old family friend who gave me the job in order to help me get my foot in the door, but I wanted to prove that I deserved it. Late nights like this were fairly common. It was June 9th, 1972, 6:47. I was almost ready to leave when the phone on my desk rang. The guy on the line started speaking before I had a chance, saying that he worked at the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. He was also quick to let me know that he loathed our administration. He was a hardcore Democrat and disagreed with almost everything we stood for. He said that the only reason he was calling was because he was also a good Christian man. And after days of prayer and soul-searching, he felt compelled to tell us of some conspiracy developing at the DNC that, when leaked to the press, would implicate our entire administration. At first, my instinct was to hang up. Did he honestly think I was going to believe in any of this garble? As he continued, however, his voice sounded genuinely upset, and I could sense the desperation in his words. He went on explaining that there was enough false evidence to put many Republicans at risk of being indicted for crimes ranging from prostitution rings all the way to murder. Pictures, documents, and even witness testimony support this well-thought-out conspiracy and incriminate a majority of the higher-ups in our offices. The more I listened, the more I started to think about the repercussions that could occur if dismissed as nothing. I started to get sick to my stomach at the thought of innocent people getting fired or incarcerated, all because I didn't pass the message on. As I pondered all this, I realized what exactly he was asking me to do. He wanted me to come down to the DNC so he could take me inside and hand over the malicious evidence. That's when I told him, "Look, sir, I'm just an aide. I can't make decisions like that." And that's when he became really upset. I calmed him down and finally got him to agree to hold on while I got someone more qualified on the line. Liddy had already gone home for the evening, but Edward Hunt was just coming out of his office. I waved him over and gave him the phone. I started pacing around the room trying to figure out what to do next. I caught the end of the conversation when Hunt was telling the informant to give him a few days to process the info and to call him back on his personal phone. It felt like an eternity before he finally looked at me and said, "Forget about all that. We're just going to assume that he's a lunatic. Go ahead and enjoy your weekend." The situation weighed heavy on my mind. I struggled with Hunt's decision on the matter. I couldn't shake the recurring question that kept arising in my mind. What if? I couldn't fathom the calamity of a rumor of this magnitude would create. I started feeling personally responsible for the pertinent information given to me, and I knew that I couldn't live with myself if I did nothing and it turned out to be true. So I picked up the phone and called Liddy, telling him all the details of my conversation with the informant. Monday, when I went back to work, Liddy, Hunt, and James McCord, Director of Security, were in a meeting discussing how to handle the situation. The informant said he'd meet someone outside the DNC building, take him in, and lead him to the evidence. Hunt had tried to get the informant to bring it to them, but he claimed he was too nervous and it wasn't worth the loss of his job, or possibly even more than that. McCord said he'd handled the delicate situation and set up the date for Friday. Liddy and Hunt agreed to oversee for safety reasons only. You know how former FBI agents are. They always have to be looking out for ill intention and consider everyone perpetrators first and people second. I don't know how or what went wrong, but I do know that later on nobody believed them about the informant. I felt responsible because I went over Hunt's head to Liddy. I told him I would come out and testify, but he said no. And I said that I didn't need any of this on my resume. So to speak. When Lee was convicted, I cried. If I had never answered the phone, then my mentor, the man who took me under his wing when my father died, would have been accused of scandal and wound up in prison. I just want everybody to know that he will always be a hero in my eyes.